Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Now I have a question for all of you. Have you ever wanted to own a life-size dinosaur? Well, guess what? You can, and you can own one for under $100. I know that sounds pretty crazy, but it's true because right here in front of you is the Dinostoreus Scipionyx, and it is a very, very small dinosaur. It is extremely small, which means that it is small enough to own the Scipionyx in 1:1 scale, and it's not incredibly expensive, and it is at the same time a beautiful resin model of said dinosaur. I really like this. I've had it for a very long time, and I thought, boy, it's a beautiful model. I don't really see too many reviews. I'm not even sure if there are any at all on YouTube of this dinosaur model, so I figured, what the heck, I might as well get it on here and review it for you guys, and then maybe some of you can go purchase it, and you can own yourself a life-size dinosaur as well. They actually have and sell 2 life-size dinosaurs on their website. This is the second. There is also a Compsognathus, which is a life-size version, but it's a bit more than $100. Not much, it's probably like $130, something like that, somewhere in that range. I'm not positive, don't quote me on that, it's been a while since I bought it, but it's definitely not expensive either. And that is one thing that is really cool about the Dinostoreus models, is that they are really beautiful resin models, and they don't cost you an arm and a leg to get them. There are actually still quite a few that I would love to have in my collection, and I unfortunately do not quite yet, but hopefully at some point I'll be able to get a hold of the rest of them and review them here for you guys on the channel. I do have a few others that I haven't reviewed quite yet, but there are still quite a few that are on the website that I have not picked up. But today we are looking at this one. Like I said, it is the 1:1 scale Scipionyx, so let's go ahead, get a closer look, and we can see this in all its resin beauty. So I'm not going to detach it from the base because it's honestly kind of a pain in the butt to do just that, because you have to screw it in on its stomach, which I will show you in a little bit. But if we just take a look at it right now from this vantage point, you can see there's actually a little bit of dust in the eye just because he's been kind of sitting for a long time. But you can see that the sculpt work of the head looks really, really nice. There is just a ton of sculpt and detail when it comes to the very minute detail that is included in the head sculpt of this. You can kind of see that in certain areas it looks like maybe the skin detail, the skin texture is slightly muted, if my camera would focus on him. But it's not anything bad at all. It's still really incredible, and just look at how nice the detail is around the eye. That is really nicely done. You can see some of the teeth sticking out here on the bottom of the jaw. Well, it's coming out of the upper jaw, but it's sticking out onto the bottom lower jaw. You can see they are painted quite nicely. There's just a few teeth here and there that kind of are exposed here. You can also see that on the underside there's some nice hanging skin, and there's a nice kind of greenish type of a color on the underside that leaks up here a little bit onto the lower jaw a little. But it really does look nice. For the most part, this dinosaur isn't really very colorful. It's pretty basic as far as the color scheme goes, but I feel like it's potentially a realistic coloration because a dinosaur like this is probably going to have to hide in the darkness of the forest, and I could definitely see that here with this dinosaur and its coloration. As you move down the neck, you can see some pretty nice sculpt and detail up here as well, kind of giving you an idea of the skin texture a little bit there. But again, some areas are slightly muted as far as the detail goes. It looks pretty nice, but it's very, very fine detailing. You can see a little bit right there. It's almost hard to pick up on it. There are also some osteoderms up here on the upper part of the neck that run along the length of the dinosaur. Very nicely sculpted arms. You can see the shoulder blade protruding from the skin really beautifully there. Beautiful curves in the arms and everything. Very nice hand sculpts that look really good. You can see a mixture of kind of that grayish color and the green throughout, helping to give them somewhat of a realistic appearance. The nails are also really nicely painted, which they're a little hard to see exactly, but they definitely look really, really good. If we look in the stomach region, you can definitely see now that the scaling and the skin texture is just really, really fine. From a distance, it kind of looks like it's really muted. You don't see it too well, but if you get close and get a nice shot up close, you can really see just how beautiful that skin texture truly is. And again, some more of these osteoderms. You also have some kind of scoots that run along the spinal column of the animal, and then some scoots here on the upper part of the hip. Definitely some nice musculature here in the leg, and you can see somewhat of a faint striping there with the greenish color and then some dark grays throughout. giving it a little bit of a flashy look, but most of it is just kind of a very dark appearance. Very nice calf muscles here. You can see the kneecaps are sculpted out really nicely up there, and the feet look beautiful, super bird-like, really, really well sculpted. And in general, the positioning of this makes it look so cool as it's in kind of a mid-jump, really giving it a very cool and dynamic pose. Then as you run along the tail, you can again see that the detail is just really fine as far as the skin texture goes, and there's also some faint striping that goes down the length of the tail, but it looks really nice. Comes out to a beautiful point there at the end. Now if we look at the head sculpt on this side, again you can see some of the teeth. The nostrils are sculpted out really nicely up there. The eye is a beautiful black coloration, and I think the eye suits the animal really well, just being nothing more than a black color, as the eyes are really big and would look kind of strange if it had more to it. I think that looks very nice and has a beautiful gloss, giving it a very realistic shine. There are some more osteoderms as you run down the neck and get a close shot. If it doesn't get too dark there, you can kind of see the skin texture there. Some wrinkles here on the side of the neck. Lots of wrinkling in general on the lower part of the neck, and some hanging skin there in the throat. Again, we come down here into the arms. You can pick up on the shoulder blade there, and really in general kind of see the bone structure of the animal here from this positioning. You can see the skin wrinkling there a little bit. The animal does look very thin. I'm not entirely sure if it's supposed to look this thin, but it's definitely a very thin animal, although I would imagine this dinosaur would probably be running all over the place at all times, so it's probably going to be very fit and fairly thin. Nice musculature there in the bicep area, and you come down into the hands, you can get a better idea of what the hands look like from this side. Nicely painted nails, really beautiful appearance. I love the transition to the green in the arms and the legs, giving it just a little bit of color variation. You can pick up on that. Very nice skin texture again in the stomach region. Lots of beautiful skin folds and skin wrinkles. And you can see the nice musculature there in the thigh as I turn this a little bit, with some more of those stripes added, and the color is added so beautifully, so realistically. It is very natural looking. And then we come down the length of the leg. You can see the nice calf muscle there, beautiful knees, again sculpted out there in the front, and the incredible foot sculpt. It's just honestly jaw-droppingly gorgeous. I love the positioning of this as it's in mid-leap. And then you run out the length of the tail, again has the same type of a striped appearance, very dark coloration, and it looks awesome. As far as the size goes, he's kind of big, so I mean he's a small dinosaur, but for the camera screen he's pretty big. So if we go from the length of the tail to the head, you're going to see this at about 13.5 inches long, or about 34 centimeters. And for a height, if we're going off of the ground to the top of the head, you'll see this at about pretty much a foot there. It's a little hard to see from your vantage point, but from mine, he's about 12 inches or 31 centimeters or 30 centimeters, somewhere in that general vicinity, about 30 centimeters actually. If we go from the base, he's about a little over 10 inches or about 26 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex down there, and you should be able to get a good idea of the fact that although this is a small dinosaur, being a full-sized 1-to-1 scale dinosaur, it is still quite large as far as a resin model goes, and our Papo Rex being a pretty large figure should definitely show you that, and show you that this is definitely a sizable piece regardless of the fact that it is a small dinosaur. Another thing that is very cool about it is you can see you get this beautiful base with it, and you also have a very nice nameplate down here stating what the dinosaur is and giving you the idea that it is 1-to-1 scale. And as I said earlier, the way you apply it to the base, you can see it kind of spins. There's a hole in the stomach, and you just have to screw him on, and eventually he'll be nice and sturdy, nice and stable, no chance of him falling off whatsoever, and you get this incredibly cool, very dynamic jumping pose, and it honestly looks beautiful. So the Dinostoreus models are awesome. I love each and every one that I own and each and every one that I've seen so far, but this is definitely one of the top of the line for me, just based on the fact that it's a 1-to-1 scale dinosaur in general is incredible, but this one at the same time is beautiful in appearance. I absolutely love the pose and positioning of the dinosaur with that mid-jump. Kind of makes me feel like it's running through a forest and it's just leaping off of a log or something, and it really brings me into the moment of time that this would have been captured from, just kind of freezing a moment in time and bringing it to life here in model form for us. It is a beautifully sculpted dinosaur figure, as well as far as the very minute details go. From a distance, as I said, A few times it kind of looks muted, but when you get close you can definitely see that the skin texture is there and looks really nice, really fine. The coloration is also pretty darn realistic. I would imagine a dinosaur like this, a small dinosaur, is going to have to probably be a little bit of a darker color to hide amongst the lower part of the forest and not be seen quite so well, especially when it's as small as it is. It doesn't have too much as far as defense going for it, other than maybe some nice claws that we can see are beautifully present within the model, but the darker coloration really helps me feel like that's kind of exactly what this dinosaur would look like, and it's all really nicely applied and beautifully applied. It really looks very natural on this dinosaur, and the actual application of the paint also looks really natural, helping to make this look like body color and not just paint on a model. So I think that this is an awesome resin model, and one that is incredibly cool just because it is a good price, under $100 for a full-scale 1-to-1 size dinosaur. That is incredible in my opinion. So if you want to pick this up, I will link you in the description to Dinostoreus, where you can go ahead and buy this for yourself and add a full-size dinosaur to your collection right away. So check the description, go buy this unbelievable Dinostoreus Scipionyx. But before you do that, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.